Wow, it's time for another show full of tips and ideas from the sales growth leadership expert, Dean Akers. Known for his experience in hyper-growing companies and creating cultures for high-performance teams, here's Dean.
Well, welcome back. Always good to talk to you. This show's going to be more fun. I just had the best week this week. This is our 58th show. Again, I really appreciate everybody reaching out to me and sending me emails when the show really helps you, and also sending me tons of questions of when you go, I don't get it, or can you help me with this? So just remember, that's Dean at deanakers.com or Dean at adjunctceo.com. You can reach me either place, and I'll be happy to answer you. I actually had somebody call me the other day, and we met for breakfast and helped them a bunch with some sales and leadership challenges. But at any rate, this past week, I like to make this show, you can't make this shit up. And, you know, when I share these different stories and the travelings of things I've been through in my career, and I've got all my ninjas out there making stuff happen, and we share all these wins that happen with our teams, and I'm sure some of the listeners out there go, come on, does this really work? And oh, by the way, this guy on here, Dean, is probably just telling me stuff. Does he really do it, and does he really believe it? Well, let me just tell you what happened. So one of my big clients, and I work with them on developing sales and stuff, and they work with big companies, and their sales are large sales, and they're valuable sales, and they tend to be in a competitive arena where most deals have a number of people on them. And so while they close some, they're always like trying to, I call puke on the customer, and it's kind of, I don't know. So I've been talking to them about, let's go make cold calls. And so we've been making some epic cold calls. I've shared some of them with you, and they've just been really cool. But we had a big challenge. So the CEO of the company said, you want to go make a cold call? Come on, buddy. Let's go make a cold call. So we went out, we got on an airplane, and we flew out to New Orleans, Louisiana, to make an absolute cold call on a big potential client that is in the throes of possibly looking at something like our product. Now, this is a cold call to the C-suite of a large potential client with no appointment. No appointment. Now, I told you, I'm game for this. I've done it more than once, done it hundreds of times, and I don't care if I get thrown out, because I get to get that kind of the energy of the office or something. So we fly out there, no expectations other than we're going to go make a cold call. And she's with me, and she's kind of, we're chuckling on the plane. And I know, if she was on my show, I'm a ranter, so I should probably have somebody on my show. But I don't know if she listens to my podcast, I don't know if she would be saying, oh, I really believe in Dean, or if this was, come on, buddy, let's go do this. You're always talking about this stuff. Let's name that tune. Nevertheless, we jumped on a jet, flew out to New Orleans for one day, and we went to make a cold call on a large potential account. So what happened? Well, we get to New Orleans. We mill around, do some funny stuff. Doesn't matter about that. But we get to the building where this big company is. And so we walk in and we meet the guard. And there's other people in the building. We start yucking it up with the guard. And she goes, what are you here for? And we told her. And she goes, oh, you need to go to this floor. So we finish goofing off with the guard. We walk and we go get in the elevator. And so now we're riding the elevator up to the 14th floor of this building. But when we get in, this gentleman gets in a suit, and he pushes the button first. Little ninja stuff. When people get in the elevator, let them push the buttons first. Why? If they're going to the same floor, it gives you that opportunity when they turn and look at you and say, what floor? And you go, we're going to the same floor as you. My name's Dean Akers, which is what we did. So the guy introduces himself, and we're going up the floor, and of course we're riding the elevator, and we're talking to him about different stuff and where we're going. And so we get to the elevator up top, and he goes, well, I'll take you in there. Now this is on the elevator. This gentleman in the suit goes, I'll take you in there. In the meantime, I've asked him some stuff. He told me about his son. I said, give me your card and I'll reach out to you, and I've got some stuff I can send you for your son. And he goes, great. So I walk you in. He takes his magnet, walks the two of us to this back door, scans his magnet. The door opens into the C-suite of this large company. Then he says, come on in. So he takes us in and he goes, this is my friend Dump the Nump, obviously Dean and the other person, to the head guy. And he goes, hey, welcome. Very warm welcome. This guy introduces, so it's kind of like a warm welcome. And he says, we'll have a seat. We sat down and we started building relationships, found out about how long he's been there, his journey, just had a lot of cool stuff. We started talking to him about some other stuff that would be important to him, and just had a great relationship building visit with this big potential client. And so we were there almost a little over an hour with his time, and it was very engaged. And we said, well, we got to get out of here. We got up to leave. I met his gatekeeper who had been there like 20 years. Got to visit with her, got her name. She was pleasant. She welcomed us, said thank you. I mean, this is a cold call. We flew from Tampa, no appointment. And this is a cold call. And so now we leave, we get down to the bottom, yuck it up with the guard, and we just couldn't believe it. It was epic. And as I said, you can't make this shit up. We had the most epic cold call. And when I got back, somebody goes, wow, that was lucky. And I said, no, actually, that's not lucky. That's what happens when you have the guts to get out there and go make those cold calls. Don't hide behind emails. I've got clients I help now, and I go, how come you haven't met the customer? I said, well, I sent them an email. Did they answer it? No, they're not answering it. Of course they're not answering it. Get in your car or get on an airplane if they're a big potential client and go see them. Go get thrown out. Go see them. When you go to their office, it's harder for them to tell you no, especially if you came from Tampa, than it is to say, come on in for a few minutes. I'm busy, but come on in. So we got on the plane and came home. Epic trip. The guy wanted a copy of my book. I've since mailed him a copy of my book. Our relationship, he's a cool guy. I'm sure we'll have an ongoing relationship whether we do business or not. And it was an epic trip. That being said, the next morning or next day, I'm having a meeting with one of my new ninjas. And so we were talking about big potential client. We Googled it. And it was a client that does work in the space we're doing. And he didn't know him. He's new. We Googled it to see, because I had heard they were in Tampa. Well, their worldwide headquarters was in Tampa, and it was less than 1.5 miles from where we were sitting. So I'm sitting with him, and we finish up, and I go, where are you headed? He goes, going back to the office. I said, what? Yeah, I'm going back to the office. Why? I said, what did we just find out? Oh, crap. You're right. I said, you're going to drive by there and go get thrown out. You're going to go by and introduce yourself to this huge potential client that he had never met. You're going to go by and you're going to introduce yourself and try to meet the CEO. And this guy's a good-looking guy. I mean, he's confident, rock star. So he gets in his car, and I said, text me or call me after you get done. So he gets done, and he calls me. I said, how'd it go? He goes, well, I walked in, I was nervous because I'd never really done this, going into a huge client without an appointment and all that and stuff. And I go, well, how many times do you get into huge clients with appointments? He goes, well, most of the times they won't see me or they never get back with me. I said, exactly. So your downside of walking in was how much? Zero for making this cold call. He walked in, he met the receptionist. And as I've shared with you on the show, find out how long she's been there. Found out she'd been there like 20 years. Guess what we knew about her the minute he found out she'd been there 20 years? Yep, you're saying to yourself, and you're right, she knows everything and everybody. So my ninja starts conversing with her. He knows it's not that important. He's not going to sell anything that day. This is a big potential client. But he introduces and say, I'd really like to meet the CEO. And she goes, well, that would be awesome, but he's not here, but blah, 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 blah. He ended up carrying on a conversation with her, and she said, listen, come on back by sometime or call me and let me know, and I'll let you know when he's in. You come on back by, and I'll make sure you get to see him. You cannot make this shit up. That's right. You heard it. I said it. You can't make this shit up. So when we're out there making those cold calls, when we're out there got the guts to go fly to New Orleans for a big potential client, go to the office, a guy walks us in, you can't make this shit up. So as a sales ninja, you learn that cold calls are epic. And today, they're more impactful than ever. And as the ninja leader here, Miyagi, I can tell you my teams, it's go make cold calls. And anybody that doesn't think I won't go with them, if you're in the Tampa Bay area and you go, well, Dean, I don't believe it. You just call me and I go ride with you. I'll show you how to make cold calls. And cold calls make for lots of business, which makes for lots of earnings, which makes you a ninja and makes you highly successful. I hope this little you can't make this shit up stories energizes you this week to go make some cold calls. I want you to email me at dean@deanakers.com and tell me how it went. Tell me your victory stories. Let's start celebrating the victories of making cold calls. Let's go out and get business and quit making excuses so that you too can get in your car and go, you can't make this shit up. You guys have a great week. Talk to you next week.
We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Subscribe today to our podcast and send questions or thoughts to help@deanakers.com. Also, visit us at www.deanakers.com to listen to prior shows and view helpful videos. Also, great tips to download. Thanks again. See you next week.